Hello viewers, it's Super GT here again. Welcome to some more online action in Forza Motorsport 6, of course. Now we are driving around the great circuit, Watkins Glen, into the first turn. I've got through in third position. We've got Jeweler DT up front in his McLaren F1 GT, a rapid car driven by a rapid driver in S-Class, coming through the S's, getting very sideways in the Noble, chasing down a Corvette driven by O&R Shiwo. Now I know no idea if I pronounced that right, probably didn't. Turbio right on our tail here in the 05 Ford GT, looking for the braking zone into the long carousel right-hander. Going to go very wide actually, go a little bit too deep. The Ford GT is going to get briefly alongside, but I now have the inside line for the left. Is he going to fight it around the outside? Looks like he will. Turbio there going with a very nice move, actually just dips onto the grass. We are still side by side, some great racing here. Now here's the inside line for the right-hander. This is how you race side by side, give each other space, and I'm actually going to give him too much space and end up going onto the grass. We are still side by side, and now this is GTZ Liquid rapidly catching us up in his Lotus. Turbio's going to drive off the track almost, just go straight on in the braking zone. I'm going to come across, almost cut up Liquid. I was surprised how quick that Lotus was gaining on me, but that thing has got some ridiculous acceleration, so it's going to be very tough to keep him at bay for much longer. So through the second to last turn here at Watkins Glen, and now into the final one, driving the Noble M600, which I consider to be a very good car for this class around this track. It's one of my favourites around this track. You probably have seen many videos of me driving this car. Now into the first turn, Liquid has just about got the inside line, and I'm going to give him that position there. So he's through into third, and then believe it or not, that entry to the S's there on the curb is clean, so you are allowed to do that within the limits of the game. Now on the exit of the S's, he couldn't quite keep control of that Lotus, and it's going to be a drag race down the back straight towards turn number 4 or 3, or let me count, 1, 2, yeah, let's call this turn 4. So into turn 4, I've gone up from 4th to 3rd, back past Liquid now. So it's going to be a very topsy-turvy race between the two of us. We seem to have somewhat mismatched cars. He's got a lot of acceleration. I seem to have the platform and handling. Now on the exit of this one, he's going to invade that space I leave on my right hand side by moving over to the left to take the racing line for this turn. Probably one of the most difficult turns in the game, especially if your car isn't quite up to it in terms of handling. Liquid is through very cleanly though. Now I have TUS Force 1 on my tail. This lobby was full of some very good drivers, so I had more than my work cut out to try to do well in this one. Looks like Jeweler DT is still out in the lead, but he is being chased down by Mr. ONR in second, so he's going to have his work cut out as well. Going into the second to last turn, Liquid has got a couple of car lengths here, so he has opened up the gap, but we did see on the previous lap, it was through the S's of turns 2 and 3 where I was really gaining. So that is going to be where I'm going to target, trying to catch up with Liquid once again. So into the first turn, breaking the 300 meters board on the left hand side, which I believe is the second board that you'll see, and approaching second turn on the curb, and you can see there Liquid actually, yeah, again very slow through this section, and this is where I'm going to capitalise on that by catching up all the space I lost, getting into the slipstream, and then trying to pull alongside just into his slipstream. Now we're going to pull out and go for a daring braking manoeuvre into turn 4, but get it done. He just about left the space. I thought he was going to close the door completely, but then he did just open it again at the last moment. I leave the inside open for him. He can go for a very brave move. I'm not sure the brakes on that Lotus are quite as good as mine. Now out of this turn, I'm going to move over to the left hand side. It's going to be a repeat. He's going to go into that space once again and got my inside into the toe corner, as it is aptly named. If you look at a map of the track, it kind of looks like a foot, and this is where the toe would be on the foot. And then into the next turn, breaking on the 200 meters board, the second board there on the left hand side. it normally gets you into that turn quite nicely. A little wide on the exit, but it's not too bad. Moving ahead slightly by about a quarter of a lap. We are at the start of lap number 4. So let's see what we can do through the S's of turns 3 and 4 once again. Is Liquid going to be slow once again? It looks like I'm definitely gaining, and just on the exit there he's getting very close to the wall. So just pushing the limits there a little bit too much. And on the exit as well, he's getting on the grass, and I'm through into 3rd position once again. So it's pretty much confirmation that our cars, of the strengths and weaknesses of our cars, his is obviously very weak through that S's section. Just can't quite keep the high speed downforce through those turns, whereas my car is very rooted, but he does have the acceleration. I'm not going to make the same mistake on the exit here, so I'm going to keep to the right hand side, force him to the left, and therefore the outside. He has to go the very long way round, and this is going to give me a better track position for this next straight. So if I hadn't done that, he would have been ahead already. He is going to get ahead anyway, but he's just not going to be as far ahead as he would like. And into this turn he's going to make a mistake. He's going to turn in too early on the brakes, and then consequently his braking distance increases and he goes off. So moving to the end of lap number 4, starting lap number 5. So we crossed the 50% mark of the race. Maldonado Jr. Catching me quite quickly in his Diablo SV, so I've got to be very wary of him. Can't be battling Liquid too long. He actually went into the pits, I believe, just then. So coming through in second, a couple of people ahead, I think it was just Jula DT, went into the pit lane. I suppose it is better to go in earlier if you can, because of the fuel load. And then at the end of lap 5 I do decide to go in, so just gonna accelerate nicely out to about halfway, then come back across to go into the pit lane. So going in from second, coming out in 7th, but of course a couple of people ahead haven't quite pitted yet. So on the exit it says approaching traffic, but there wasn't really anyone there, so that graphic was incorrect essentially. And then on the exit I've got a good couple of 100 feet over Liquid, so I have actually gained overall. Just got to wait for a couple of guys to pit, and then I will gain my rightful positions back. So the end of lap number 7, we've only got a lap and about a quarter left. Liquid has actually caught up a fair amount, as you can see as I just look behind there. He has actually gained, it was about 500 or 600 feet on the first lap I came out of the pits, but then by the time we approach the final lap he is barely 200 feet behind. So he is actually going to be in with a shout here. We're going to try and get past someone else in the pit lane. I think they are just coming out of the pit lane exit, so I'm going to get my 3rd position back. So now it's a matter of me trying to defend myself against Liquid here to the end of the race. Now this is my strength against him, so hopefully through here I can gain a couple of 100 feet on him, and indeed I do. Just to buffer that gap that I have, there is the gap. Can I keep that gap from here to the end? So looking for the end of the tyre wall on the left hand side, which is there. That is my normal braking zone for this alternate layout of Watkins Glen, where you don't run the chicane. Normally that braking zone, or that braking point, tends to work quite well. And the drain pipe on the right hand side there on the entry to this left hander is also a very good braking point. For this one I like to go over to the left hand side. There's a couple of markers there. The second one there, the 200, you're braking just after that. I think you can get away with braking a little later than you normally would, as the turn is uphill and you're approaching it slightly slower than the other turn, turn 4. Now this one I'm braking at the 200 board, there it is, and normally gets you into the apex. Turn towards the apex if you are braking too late, but of course don't get oversteer on the braking phase. If you start getting the car sideways under the brakes, you will start braking longer, like what Liquid did earlier basically. He actually went sideways on the brakes, then he actually ended up going off, so you've got to be careful not to go too far to the side. And then coming through the final turn now, we are going to finish the race in 3rd, behind Jula DT and Owen Arshiwo. If that's how you pronounce the name, probably not, I have no idea. Then over the line we go. Not a bad race actually, it was actually very good to have a respectful race with Liquid, with continuous position changes. In the end, a very pleasing race to be part of. There are the results. Get yourself a couple of those tunes on there. Jula DT makes some very good tunes for S-Class, worth checking out. So that is going to bring a close to this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. As always, hit the like button, subscribe for more like this, and I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.